we actually connected probably, about 40 years ago from hearing Peabo on the radio. That was the first time we heard Peabo Bryson. So probably about 36, 37 years after that, we happened to share an agent, manager, who took care of our affairs in Japan. And we got asked to do, Terry and I got asked to do a tribute album to a big artist over there. And they asked who we wanted to sing the song, and we said Peabo. And that turned into the relationship that we have now. And that was the very beginning. It went through Japan and all kind of places, so to get to where we're at.
Oh, we courted each other in the beginning. I mean, we ran into each other at Mr. Child's and said, we should work together. The perfunctory things you always say when you meet somebody. When you meet two of your icons, two of your people, your heroes, you go, oh yeah, we should really do something. Yeah. And that invariably doesn't turn into much most of the time. It's not that we were insincere in any way, shape, or form. We just didn't have a format or a platform in which to approach it at that particular point. Timing is everything. So with this Asian connection, we found a way to work with each other, and it has been for me the most extraordinary recording experience of my entire career.
Great. And what was it like working together? You can elaborate on that.
Well, it was I call it a music fellowship. It's a fellowship in general. That's the first thing you have to understand about these men. These two men are about human quality first. Who are you as a person? Because in order to create great music for you, they have to know your great character. If you don't have any great character, then you're probably not going to end up with great music. They'll make great music for anybody, but they make really exceptional and special music for those who have artists that can extract their character from. And their process is different from mostly anyone else's that I've ever worked with. I mean, that they want you involved as much as possible, as opposed to sit over there and shut up, or just be quiet, be seen but not heard.
You can't do that, Peabo.
No, I can't shut up. I mean, as you can probably figure out by now. But so that the experience is different. What you do is you talk a lot. We did some serious male bonding. Collectively, individually, and their process leads to collaboration in general, because that's the way they work. I mean, they want you involved. What do you think? What do you hear? Do you hear something? Really? Go write it. I was like, huh? It's so different. And getting to know them in the studio, it reminded me of all the reasons and then some why I always admired them, and also why at this stage of my career, my life, they were the only two people I would trust.
Jimmy, Terry, any elaborations on that? Anything to add?
He's a pro.
He's a pro's pro.
Well, they're saying that because we agreed to keep the answers short, but I couldn't. I have a big mouth.
No, listen. Peabo's amazing. I mean, I was relating a story to him the other day. We were rehearsing, actually, and I just said, 40 years ago, I remember exactly where I was. I was in a car on the way to the Cool Jazz Festival in Milwaukee. And I heard "I'm So Into You" for the first time in my life, and I remember it being, for me, musically, it just was one of those moments that always stuck in my mind. Like, who is that singing that song? I need to get to know him. And it's interesting, the kind of relationships that music puts together, because 40 years later, here we are together, working together.
How about that?
That's an amazing thing, and what a blessing.
It is a blessing, and it's also called destiny. We were always meant to be sitting in these chairs in this moment, and I look at it as divine intervention. That's the way I see it. The music we made together is the most extraordinary music for me, and I'm already looking forward to the next time we work together at this particular point. But I like them as people, I like them as men, and I like them as human beings, and that for me says all of it. And from a collaboration like that and a fellowship like that, the music fellowship becomes something so extraordinary that you can't really imagine. I mean, the things that if we're fortunate enough to wake up and be in our right minds tomorrow, we'll make even more great music than even this great project at this particular point. I mean, what they've done for me as an artist, I don't think anybody else could have done. Not what they did for me. To be in this moment and to feel the gratitude and to know the blessings is a quintessential moment for me.
Thank you, Peabo.
Yes, thank you so much.
So eloquent.
See, I get this all the time, right? That's why they make me sing some things like "Go and Get It." No, I don't want any of that. Go and get it.
Go and get it.
Not go on and get it. Go and get it.
Go and get it.
So what makes this album different than previous
For me,
Peabo Bryson albums?
Jammin' Lewis. In a nutshell, that's what it is. We made specific challenges to each other. Can you make me current without destroying what it's taken me my entire life to accomplish? As little or much as that may be, it's something that's important to me. And they understood that because they understand that from a personal perspective. It's part of their journey too, so they get it. And so their empathy for me was something that I really cherished. I mean, it's because they understood me, and they understood it. They got it. And they sympathized with me. They empathized with me. They got it, and they did exactly what I challenged them to do, and they challenged me to step up to the plate if they did it. Okay, we can do that. That's the way they are. I mean, they're like these guys. You're talking to them, and you're not sure whether they're really listening to you or not because they're so calm. And that's just part of who they are. But they're calm because they're real. And once you figure that much out, then you can relax because only if you're real, though. You have to be real around these people. And during the project, you've got to be real. If I don't have thin skin, and I said to them, whatever it is, say it. I like the truth. I don't care how harsh it may seem to somebody else, not to me. And they appreciate that because they don't have to tiptoe around my ego and I don't have to tiptoe around theirs. So we get the job done that way. And we made extraordinary music, extraordinary collaborations, and then you have the great John Jackson. It's
Great.
Exactly, right? What's to pine for? There's nothing to want for in this combination. And for me, working with Jimmy and Terry is a dream come true.
Amazing. Jimmy Terry, this is the first release off of the new Perspective Records. What made this appealing to you guys to make this actually the first release for you guys?
When we originally did Perspective Records 20 years ago, actually it was more than that, but probably our last release was about 20 years ago. The reason we did Perspective Records is because there was music that we felt was being missed, that we felt like the world needed to hear. And so we signed acts like Men Condition, like Sounds of Blackness, acts that were, there wasn't great bands out there making music. There wasn't great gospel music happening. And so that's what we tried to fill a void and do things that were important to myself and Terry that we weren't hearing in other places. So 20 years later, we feel that once again there is some things that are missing out there. One of those things is Peabo Bryson. The artistry, the class, the sophistication, the dedication, to have elegance on a record, to bring back words like chivalry, romance, the opportunity to do that and to do it on our label on Perspective is such an amazing thing. But even more cool about it is that Peabo's first really big hits happened right here in this building where we're sitting, the Capitol building, Capitol Records, and the fact that bringing Peabo back home to Capitol after 40 some years is just, it's just, I think he said it. It's all kind of timing and it's all
Destiny, divine intervention.
all of those things kind of wrapped into one. So we couldn't think of a better way to, start the journey of perspective again in the Capital Group and also the wonderful Caroline family.
Correct.
Caroline was really set up for people like us, young entrepreneurs that had, musical ideas that wanted to be independent and do their thing. I mean, that energy is what we bring to it, and Caroline is the perfect partner for that. So, all in all, it's just the perfect situation for us.
And so I'm honored twice to be back home at Capitol and to be the first on Perspective. That puts the crown on my career. It really does. And the thing is that about Terry and Jimmy and myself is that we have an inherent zeal for life, and we also have a sense of responsibility to culture and society. We'd like to think that the music that we make reflects that. Putting in the relationships that as they are today in perspective. And making friendship the central theme of any relationship is a wonderful thing to do. Isn't that what music is for? That's why we make it. We make it to inspire, to educate, and to embody and the characteristics and virtues that we all need to be reminded of from time to time. So when you think of it from that perspective, it's honorable work, and that's the way we all three look at it. And I think that's why we click, and that's because that's what it is. So for me, being twice blessed where that's concerned, I couldn't be happier, and I couldn't be more grateful, and I shouldn't be, quite frankly. Look what we did today. We're back at Capitol, and I'm sitting between two of the greatest music producers on the planet. I'm a happy camper.
Okay, great. And why, I think you all touched on this a little bit already, but why does the world need an album like Stand for Love right now?
Well, you only have to really turn on the news or pick up a newspaper or even one of the rags in the grocery store line. And, we're in dire need of perspective, or a change in perspective, or a realignment of perspective. Americans aren't inherently bad people. Everything's good. There's so many good people. We're easily, as a society, I think sometimes we're easily misled by what's in vogue at the moment. Not led as much as influenced in some sort of way. But if you're influenced by something, even in a very small way, it affects everybody. What happens to one person and what one person thinks affects us all. Because there was an old saying in the 60s, what was it? Everything is everything. Mm-hmm. It actually is. So that means if everything is everything, everyone is everyone. And so if you want to stand for something, stand for love. That's the one thing that if we choose to, we can do it right. And if Americans do that right, we influence the rest of the world. So it starts here with the music, the reminder, and if we can start that chain using this platform, and that's why we got into this business to begin with. One of the things that we've done, we were instrumental in. I wasn't as instrumental as they were, but I was a small part of something of an effort to reunite North and South Korea. And one of the questions they asked on the dais was very interesting. They said, "Well, why are you guys here? Why would you take up this cause?" And Derry said, "You go ahead." I said, "Well, okay. We are sitting here as the recipients of the war between the North and South in America." Yeah. So why wouldn't we be here to try to bring the North and South together here? Because we truly understand it in a way that it's like, unless it's been your experience, you can't really internalize it until you know it. And like our music, we don't write about. I wouldn't write a lyric. We wouldn't write a lyric we don't understand. We don't know that's not been a part of our journey. And or the journey of the person that's you collaborating with. It's got to be real, whatever it is. And they won't create a lyric or a piece of music that they don't take seriously. There's no wasted anything, you know. If it's not saying anything, it's not doing anything, then they don't want to be involved in it, nor do I. We don't have the time for that. And I don't think our society has the time for it either. So if you want to stand for something, love is the best thing you can possibly stand for.
I agree.
Great. And how do you think that this album will appeal to fans old and new?
I think love is the most universal theme that you could possibly have, and I think it's something that's very much needed. So I think it applies to everybody. I mean, I think it means different things to different people, but, you know, whether you're old, young, black, white, female, male, doesn't matter. I think love is a universal theme. And I think this album is a return to, I think, classic record making, in the sense of real instrumentation, strings and horns, and really the class and the elegance of really great records and really great music. So I think those elements are relevant to everyone. So I just think it's a record for everybody, and everybody will enjoy it.
That's what music is for. You know, it's a universal platform to promote the best of who we are and to fill in the blanks for those of us who have questions and to inspire those who have lost hope, and to reiterate perspective when necessary, as needed, so that, you know, this is what it is. It's why music is the universal language.
Great. I'm gonna just try quickly to get in a couple more questions. Cool. Can you tell us more about, I'm gonna ask you specifically about two of the songs, the two instant grats out right now. Can you tell us about Love Like Yours and Mine and the song's meaning?
Oh, well, Love Like Yours and Mine is a song that represents the best of what relationships can be, based on the central theme of friendship and concepts like cherishing each other, which means to respect each other and to know when to compromise, to know how to give and take. These are the best elements of relationship, and it's not every relationship is tragic, and you know, every relationship has its ups and downs. But this song is about how to get through that and what to appreciate, and this reminds us to appreciate the person that we have. That's the one person that's probably that was born to be in your life at this particular time. To appreciate what you have is an extraordinary thing, and America's the land of plenty. So we need to be reminded that if we have something that's really special, to cherish it, and that's what Love Like Yours and Mine is really all about. And the theme of Stand for Love is about all kinds of love, and this is just one particular kind.
Great, fantastic. And then, can you tell us about All She Wants to Do Is Me? How is the song the perfect song for steppers, anthems, and barbecues across the land?
All She Wants to Do Is Me. What a wonderful thought of your.
How about that? What a concept.
Man, it doesn't, man, it's the best.
It's the best.
It's the best. But what I really like about the record is that, you know, it's a record that's probably a little unique, in that this is like a, you know, barbecue record. Like this is a, you know, when you're out barbecuing, we call it a stepper song. You know, I think for all the steppers, we were fortunate enough to have this song included in the Showtime series, The Chi, and it actually played the last scene of the particular episode. Basically was a party in Chicago, you know, which we know is the home of stepping, and
the home.
So it's got the tempo. It's funky, you know. If you want to say funky and Peabo Bryson in the same sentence, All She Wants to Do Is Me is the song. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so
that gives you an idea of how different this is for me. What Jam and Loose did for me, Peabo Bryson stepping and a block party. These are not the things you hear in the same sentence. You know, you might hear them a decade apart, but not in the same sentence in the same conversation.
Amazing. And one last one. Any thoughts on streaming music? Like for your fan base, how the importance of streaming? We know we can buy your music, but also streaming in general.
I think all art has value. And if it has value, then and it's art, then somebody put their art into it. And art requires time. And music, that's a lot of time. I mean, from the beginning of an idea to the fruition of it becoming a pseudo reality to a even more definite reality. And there are so many stages that take so much time. I don't mind I'll do a lot of things for free, but my time, I take that personally, because that's my most precious commodity. And if I use it creating something, I want you to enjoy it as much as you possibly can. I want you to pass it on from generation to generation. But I also want you to feel the need yourself to compensate me for my time. Not my music, not the message, but my time.
Good. We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay,
Awesome.
Michelle, is she even in the room?
Shit, I didn't get to.
Do
I'm sorry.
anything that
You did what?
want-
I'm sorry, I didn't. Yeah.
Anything?
No, Dad, you did good.
You good?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
Awesome.
Good.
You good? No, I think we're good.